Welcome to the Bucky Brooks Show. I am Bucky Brooks, and I had to pop on the podcast today because Myles Garrett was just traded from the Cleveland Browns to the LA Rams in a blockbuster deal that I'm still trying to just process all of this that is taking place. So the two-time Defensive Player of the Year is traded to the LA Rams for a first-round pick and two-time Pro Bowler Jared Verse. Those two things come back to the Browns. The Rams receive a dominant player, a generational player, someone who really helps them make the push to go all in Matthew Stafford's twilight of his career to make another push at a Super Bowl. And I just have to say, I know there was conversation about Myles Garrett being traded, particularly after he moved back the option bonuses and things that were supposed to be in March. He moved them to within 7 days of the regular season. But it certainly was not on my bingo card that he was going to be traded, let alone that he was going to be traded to the LA Rams. And I know Les Snead has done this. I know he's been big on doing these things. He has said F them picks time and time again. But I just didn't see a scenario where the Rams would be the team that makes the move and gets it done. And I understand why they're doing it. Like I talk about Matthew Stafford just signing the 1-year extension for $55 million, coming off an MVP season, a season in which most would expect that the Rams might have been the better team in the NFC Championship game, but they didn't get it done. And so they have come back fully loaded for bear by bringing in the top pass rush in the league, bringing two corners, another by trade, and Trent McDuffie, where they gave him a first-round pick to get a Pro Bowl corner, and then bringing in a free agent in Jalen Watson to completely revamp their defense. And this comes at a time where it's been the craze to see more teams make blockbuster moves. We've seen within the last year, Michael Parsons got traded for two first-rounders for two first-rounders and Kenny Clark to go to the Green Bay Packers from the Dallas Cowboys. Sauce Gardner is pried away for the Jets for two first-round picks. Max Crosby, before the failed physical, two first-round picks traded away to take him from Las Vegas to Baltimore, even though it was squashed. So this is not uncommon in today's game, but it is uncommon for someone who's a 7-time Pro Bowler coming off a season where he just smashed the single-season sack record, where he has 125 and a half sacks over 9 seasons, 8 straight seasons with at least 10 sacks. Typically, teams don't move off of those guys, no matter how expensive it is. And I know that Myles Garrett is in a 4-year, $160 million contract that will take him through the end of the 2030 season, and he has a no-trade clause. So this certainly was a move that Myles Garrett was advocating to happen behind the scenes. And it probably was telling not only when they moved the dates, but the fact that he hadn't been at OTAs, he hadn't met face-to-face with Todd Monken. You just don't see a franchise player fail to meet a new coach at any time over the course of the offseason after the guy takes the job. So you knew they weren't in a good spot. We also knew that last year, Myles Garrett expressed and voiced his concerns about the team and him not wanting to be there anymore. They kind of sweetened the pot, placated him by giving him a 4-year deal, and we thought that all was good in the dog pound. But it certainly was not, because now Myles Garrett is in Hollywood, and Sean McVay gets someone that he desperately wanted on this defense. If you think about the Rams and their blueprint for winning a Super Bowl, it is like a dominant offense, a defense that understands how to get off the field, led by a generational talent on the front line. When we saw them win the Super Bowl last, it was Aaron Donald securing the win, being able to get that done. He was a guy that was a 3-time defensive player of the year. They had some other pieces around him, but he was the straw that stirred the drink. Well, they're replicating that formula a little bit by having Myles Garrett come over to serve as that guy that is the point on the spear, the guy that is the tone setter, the guy that is able to really create chaos for the rest of the squad. And I understand, like, they got some young players, Kobe Young, Byron Young, like they have some really young players that can complement him and support him in a way where he is not only the focal point, but he sets the table for the other guys. I love that part of the deal when it comes to the way they can reset their defense, the way that he can command the double team, the way they will make life easy for everyone on the front and the back end. I also love the fact that when we stack these deals together, Trent McDuffie coming over to maybe play in the slot, we have Jalen Watson being able to play on the outside. They have now completely remade their defense, but they've done it in a fashion that really the star power can overwhelm you at the marquee positions. We talk about the marquee positions on defense being, look, one of those edge rushers must be a marquee player. Someone in the defensive secondary has to be a marquee or premium player. That would be Trent McDuffie. And then you got to get blue caliber play from a couple other positions there where maybe Jalen Watson can do that because they signed him as a free agent. We also talk about the importance of playing complementary football. When you believe that your offense is going to score the kind of points that the Rams are going to score with Matthew Stafford and all the weapons that he has around him, you want to build your defense to be able to counteract what opponents will have to do to beat you. And when I look at how people are going to have to chase points, they're going to need to throw the football. Man, they're playing into the strengths of the LA Rams defense. So for all of those things, it's really hard to find anything negative about the situation when it comes to the Rams. He's 29 years old, so you may have 3-4 years left of him in his prime, but you'll take that given what we've seen him to produce throughout his career. So you're okay with 8 seasons of at least 10 sacks and 23 sacks last year where he was a sack leader. You're okay with all of those things if you're the Rams. It hamstrings you. You're a little hamstrung by the fact that, okay, man, we still need some other weapons. Are we going to be able to get these weapons down the road? But for the Rams, who I believe must operate like the Lakers in this time where star power matters. If you look at how the Lakers have won, you look at how the Dodgers have won, it is about having a collection of stars carry the team to the title. But the Rams certainly have star power now. Myles Garrett, Trent McDuffie is a star. Matthew Stafford is a star. You have 2 on the outside in Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua that have star power. This team is like the teams that typically and traditionally win in LA. Superstar heavy, big payroll, but when it comes down to it, their stars are able to get it done. The Rams now have that kind of power. They have the ability to make that happen, and you have to be excited if you are a Rams fan. On the other side, if you're the Cleveland Browns, after you get the shock out of your system, where you're just shocked that you just lose a player who's a generational player, a player who's a transcendent player, a guy who can do so many different things, you settle in and you say, okay, why would we make this move? Well, it saves them about $30 million off the books. And that $30 million combined with the number of draft picks and draft capital that they have over the next couple of seasons, that'll be like the foundation of being able to build this franchise back up. And remember, they got a really good player in Jared Verse. So let's talk about Jared Verse first, and then we'll talk about how it also impacts the Browns. Jared Verse, 2-time Pro Bowler, a guy who has 12 sacks and 22 tackles for loss over the last 2 seasons. First round pick who's only 25 years of age. He's an energizer bunny. He's a tone setter. He brings it with his physicality and toughness, but he also gives them a little edginess that works well within that division in the AFC North. He is not eligible for a contract extension until after the 2026 season. So they go a full, pretty much, football season without having to worry about, hey, man, we got to get this money up. We got to make sure we get all our ducks in a row to make sure we pay him. They're able to kind of live and see, hey, what do we need to do to build this team up, to build this franchise up? So that gives them a little time on that. This deal also gives them 11 draft picks in 2027. 11. 2 first rounders in 2027, coming off a year in which they had 2 first rounders in 2026, coming off of a year in which they knocked it out of the park with their draft class. What the Rams have been able to do now in those 11 picks, 3 fourth rounders, 2 fifth rounders, 2 seventh rounders, they're able to move up and down the board next year to get the players that they want. Every talking head is talking about how talented this 2027 class is. We talk about all the quarterbacks. We talk about the playmakers. We can just talk about the high-end talent that is in abundance in this 2027 class. The Browns now have multiple ways to have multiple options in the first round or the first 2 rounds to be able to assemble a nice little class that carries them to the next level. So you love that if you're Andrew Berry, considering the success this team has had recently with the draft picks. If you forgot last year, 2025, I mean, they crushed it. They deserved an A for all the things they're able to do. Mason Graham taken in the first round. Carson Schlesinger, Defensive Rookie of the Year, taken in the first round. Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fanning, even Shedeur Sanders being able to contribute. They aced the test when it came to the draft. And so that probably emboldened the ownership, the front office to say, hey, if we get a lot of currency back, we can make this happen. We can continue to build upon what we already started and what we already established last year. There's some things that we've learned from the process that makes us feel even better about the process when we have our chance to continue to build it with a younger team. Look, 11 picks, and a lot of those that we talked about, the 3/4, the 2/5, the 2/7, 7 picks, man, those are trade commodities. Those are trade chips to move up and around and to do whatever you need to do to get a player. That might mean making a midseason acquisition to get a solid player that can go. As we begin to wrap up the conversation over this trade and what it means for both teams, as I think about the Rams, this is the official signal. Man, we're all in. We're going for it. Our timeline for the Super Bowl is tied directly to Matthew Stafford's timeline. We are going to make a push for him over the next 2 years to find a way to not only get back to the Super Bowl, but we're going to win that thing. And when we think about how well it is going, it is one of those situations that, man, Sean McVay is going to be energized by it. The team is going to be energized by it. And that conversation that they have in the meeting room when big Myles Garrett walks in is Super Bowl or bust. And so that is going to change the energy and the urgency that is around the building. It's going to change the way that you feel it on the practice field. They are now in go mode, and they're going to be in go mode because they know they legitimately have a roster that is capable of winning the deal. And because they got so close last year and fell short, this is all they needed to be able to come back ready to rock when it comes to training camp. Man, the Rams have to feel, they have to feel energized, motivated, and ready to make a push. For the Browns, look, it's not a surrender, a waving of the white flag, but it's a way to tell the team, hey, man, everyone that we have in the building are people that want to be here. Myles didn't want to be here. He's a great player. We miss him. We love him. He's an all-time great. But as we're rebuilding the program, we need to have people that are all in. And as we're rebuilding the program, we need to make sure that we have enough draft currency and capital to move up and down the board to get the players that we believe will help the Browns get back on the map. 11 picks, as I've talked about multiple times, 2 first-round picks, just all of that currency. If they select the right players and make the right move or two, you talk about changing the tenor of the roster. You're talking about changing how quickly they can compete at the highest level in the AFC North. And you talk about building the other team that could eventually have the 8 to 12 blue chip players that are needed to compete at a title level, at a championship level. The Browns have set themselves up for success by being able to do that. So in a rare instance where we all hate to say, hey, this is a winner, this is a loser, to me, this is a win-win for both teams. It's a win-win because, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, the Rams are plus 550 to win the Super Bowl now. Those odds are terrific for a team that may have the most loaded roster in ball. And then for the Browns, it's a natural reset to see, hey, what does Deshaun Watson have? Can he do something beyond this year? If not, we got Shedeur Sanders. Maybe he can do it. If we don't like them, we then can go in the draft next season and see if we can find our franchise quarterback. Given the support staff that they built and the infrastructure that they built around the quarterback, man, they're a quarterback away from being really, really relevant. And a lot of that will continue to be enhanced by the currency that they receive from this deal. Man, great move by the Rams, great move by the Browns. But this is one where I just think if you're going to grade it, Man, I think this might be an A for both teams. Remember, FanDuel Sportsbook is the place that you want to go. Make sure you place your wager on the Rams. $550 to win the Super Bowl. Let's make sure you get it. Let's see if we got anybody in the chat before we go. Okay, we do got some people in the chat. Boat Fanatic, this is a crazy historic trade. Yes, it is. But Fanatic 213, never thought that I would see this kind of move made now. But look, you got to give the Rams credit. Les Snead is not shy about giving up picks. He's also not shy for going for big time players. I'm telling you, the Rams operate like the LA Lakers and the LA Dodgers. And maybe because I'm in LA and I'm around it so much, this city demands that your teams have stars. They have the star power. And that's why they're going to be one of the teams that we have to talk about being a contender. Tom Morales, 8725. The NFL is a business. We might not agree with the trades, but the Rams are all in on playing in the Super Bowl at SoFi. Why not, Jared? Why not? Jay Verse will be missed. Go Rams. Yeah, look, you certainly missed a player, man. He was the guy that was one of the young leaders on this team. I have so much respect for him and how he went about his business, how he sparked them, how he led them, how he played, the rugged blue-collar approach that he brought. But we talking about Jared Verse versus Myles Garrett. It's a no-brainer. I mean, even at the back end of his career, which I'm not saying that Myles Garrett is, he is still a superior talent, superior player. If you're the Rams, you have a chance to get this, you make it happen like they did. And this is why we'll talk about this team being a title contender heading into next season. Jet M261, crazy. Absolutely. Bananas. It is a crazy day. I guess this would be PHNXBLAK. BLK. Okay, so that's Phoenix Black. Crazy day in NFL history, boys. Yeah, you are right. Crazy. I never thought that I would see it, but the more that I am around it, the more that we're seeing these marquee players go. And I think this is a sign of the times with the new guys, the new young guys that are beginning to take over in these front office spots, these team builder spots. We're seeing a different, a bold and bodacious approach that they're willing to take. We talked about Michael Parsons and Sauce Gardner and even Max Crosby, those guys being jettisoned off to get the currency back. It just says that these front offices, not that they don't respect the players that they have, but they are supremely confident that they can go into the next draft class or two and find suitable replacements. It smells of arrogance, but who's to say that they're wrong, given how some of these young guys have been able to play? The Rams, the Browns, they certainly keep it entertaining. And I can't wait to see how this plays out, not only in a few weeks when they get together for training camp, but how it plays out during the regular season. Until then, make sure you keep everything locked on the Bucky Brooks Show. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you check out all my partners at Believe, because they are doing fantastic work. Look, Believe in Rams, I know it's popping on that channel. You might want to head over there later today to see what they are talking about with their instant reaction and analysis to a blockbuster trade that may change the power structure at the top of the NFL. Until next time, I'm Bucky Brooks. Check us out later in the week.